it. Does it say that?
The officer who is doing this
No,
letter,
it's a simple question. Does it say that, yes or no?
is in charge of the sub-counties.
Does it say these officers are from his sub-county? That is the question. No, nothing more.
Honorable Speaker, the author of this letter is not a
It's
sub-county.
either witness. You know, they're very simple questions that attract either yes or a no.
Yes.
We proceed so that we don't waste time.
I'm well guided, sir.
We go to the last report. This is the one you've made. Yes, so from that letter, is that a yes or no? Does it indicate where they're deployed?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. We go to the report of the 8th of March. Does it indicate the officers?
It does not indicate the name of officers.
It does not indicate the name of the officers who were deployed on the 20th of December? It does not.
It doesn't.
It doesn't indicate the names of the officers who have been deployed at the deputy governor's house, as you allege?
It doesn't.
Okay. So there's no way for this assembly to know that there are officers either deployed on the 20th of December or currently deployed at the deputy governor's house?
The house is able to know because...
Is there a way to identify them from your reports?
I can supply the names.
No. As we stand here, is there a way to identify them?
No.
Okay. Yes, we move to the issue of the 4 officers who are deployed at the DG's house. Your testimony was that you learned of this before the proceedings, the impeachment proceedings.
Yes.
Okay. These officers were not sent or deployed there by yourselves?
I said they were not officially deployed because there's no any official document in our records.
So these officers are deployed to another place? Or they are assigned another duty in the county?
You see, what I meant is that the officers are taken to do a distinct activity.
In your department, are there officers who are not assigned to specific duties?
All officers are assigned specific duties, yes, and with the letters.
Okay, so these 4 officers have been assigned duties elsewhere, and they are not doing those duties, but have moved to the deputy governors. That is your evidence?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to state that the officers the deployment must be documented.
But you're saying they're not deployed to the deputy governor?
They're deployed with no documentation.
What do you mean they're deployed without documentation?
Mr. Speaker, when deployment is done, there has to be an official deployment letter.
Okay. So these people who have been deployed with no letters, have you taken any disciplinary actions against them as their supervisor?
Of course, I have complained in writing to my supervisor.
Is that letter before this court, your complaint, before this tribunal?
No, Mr. Speaker.
No, it's not?
It's not.
Okay. So you said that about the allegations of deployment of 20 officers on the 20th of December. You only learned about it on the 29th of February.
Exactly.
Okay. So before that, were you aware of the motion again to impeach the deputy governor?
The motion, I learned that after following the proceedings of the assembly.
On 29th. Before that, you did not know anything about that, no, that there's a motion going on
in the assembly.
You did not know?
I did not know.
Did you hear about any public participation with regards to the charges that were facing the deputy governor?
Mr. Speaker, I don't work at the assembly.
No, I'm saying, did you hear, as a person living and working in Kisii County, did you hear about it?
I heard there was a public participation, but I didn't bother to ask what was it about.
You didn't know what it was about,
yeah,
even when it involved 20 of your officers, yeah, allegedly?
My 20 of the officers, I learned it at the assembly.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hagai. I'll cede my remaining time to Senior Counsel Katokigan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, Mr. Hagai.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, it is your testimony to this Senate that where you stand is that the officers, both who went the 20 and the ones who are deployed from your record, were not properly designated to do those respective things they did.
Yes.
Okay. And for purposes of making that contention to this Senate, you referred to a certain record, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was that record?
The report that I got from my deputy.
Okay. Now, when you say they were not deployed, is it a document or just a word of mouth from the ward admin, sub-ward admin?
You know, the procedure of deployment.
Just answer. Do you have a record of your deployments? Let me ask it like that.
The record is not there.
You don't have any record showing deployments?
Nothing like that.
Okay.
Because they were not properly deployed.
Okay. Do you have a record of all your enforcement officers?
Yes, I have.
And have you annexed it to any of your documents?
Right now, no.
No. Okay. So you do not have the record of the totality of your officers. Are those officers designated to do certain duties?
Enforcement officers are supposed to do enforcement duties.
No, just answer my question.
Yes.
Are the total population of the enforcement officers in your portfolio assigned to duties?
They are assigned to duties.
Is there a record showing that this one is supposed to be at the hospital, this one is supposed to be at the stadium, this is supposed to be at the county offices? Is there a record showing?
That is.
Okay. And it is true you haven't brought that to this county assembly, to this Senate, have you?
The summons.
Please answer my question. For purposes of saying in certain individuals, some 20 people went to the governor's brother's house, and for purposes of saying there are people working at the deputy governor's house that were not meant to be there, have you brought the deployment record showing where those people were supposed to have been deployed to?
No, Mr. Speaker.
You haven't. Now, you said one of the criteria you used to come and testify to this Senate is that there were no letters of deployment, isn't it?
They were not officially deployed.
Did you use the word letters of deployment?
Yes.
A few minutes ago.
About the 4 officers.
So the 20 plus the 4, have you brought us the deployment letters so that this Senate can know very clearly that this person who went to the deputy governor's house or the one who is working at the deputy governor's house had a letter of deployment to a different place, but is erroneously in a different place? Have you given us their letters of deployment?
No.
Okay. And you've also said, or rather, let me ask you, do you have an HR manual at the county assembly?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. You haven't given us that manual, have you?
No.
Okay. Who are the enforcement officers answerable to?
Enforcement officers are answerable to me as the director of enforcement.
To you, okay. And that's what the manual says. The HR manual says they're answerable to you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, in the body of that manual, is there anywhere which designates the deputy governor as one of the people to whom they are answerable to?
No.
Okay. And lastly, you say you've come here to tell us what the sub-county ward administrator told you, isn't it?
It is my deputy in charge of sub-counties.
Yes, but that's not the question I've asked you. I've asked you, as you stand here, your testimony to this Senate is what the sub-county ward admin told you, isn't it?
No.
It is based on?
On my deputy who's in charge of sub-counties.
And how did he get that information again?
He did investigations.
And he communicated to the sub-county ward administrator? Is it?
Communicated to the sub-county admin, not to ward administrator.
Now, if we really wanted to know for a fact that indeed 20 people went to the deputy governor's house, that indeed there are people who are not deployed, the best person would have been that sub-ward county admin, isn't it? That is the person who has the raw information, is the one who is immediately in that vicinity, isn't it?
Yeah, but he failed to report.
Sorry?
He failed to report.
That's not what I've asked you. I'm saying that is the person who would have told this Senate directly that I know for a fact that there are 4 people working there who have not been designated to work there, and there are 20 people who went to Deputy Governor's house. That is the person who would say that, isn't it? From personal knowledge.
The enforcement officers.
Please understand my question. My question is, the person who has personal knowledge of whether or not there are 4 people working at the Deputy Governor's house, and whether or not 20 people went to effect arrest, is the sub-county ward admin, isn't it? That is the person right on the ground.
There is a sub-county commander who reports to me.
Okay. So who knows for a fact, who is the most immediate person to the vicinity of the house of the Deputy Governor and who would know which people went to his house? Who would be?
The sub-county enforcement commander.
Sub-county enforcement commander, isn't it? That is the person who would have told this Senate directly what happened, isn't it?
The sub-county commander reports to me.
Sorry? Reports to you.
Yeah.
But as a question of a witness, that would have been the best witness for the Senate to know for a fact whether what you're saying is true or not, isn't it? You're telling us what you are told. It's not what you know.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in charge of the Directorate of Enforcement.
And what you are telling the Senate is what the sub-county enforcement commander told you, isn't it?
Yes.
And I know my colleague, Mr. Mutuma, asked you whether you came here under coercion, whether you are threatened, whether, and so on and so forth. Why was it necessary to be careful about that? Why was it necessary that they take precaution that you do not be seen as a weaponized witness? Why was it necessary to do that?
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I am in charge of...
No. Just asking, why defensive when nobody has made an accusation against you? Why is there that defensive sense that you might have been a weaponized witness? Why?
I learned that my Director of Enforcement is implicated in this case.
Okay. Now, isn't it true that the sub-county enforcement commander knows for a fact that the 4 people working at the Deputy Governor's place are designated to do that job and was not ready to come and lie, and that you are the only one who was available to give a distorted truth of the fact?
Mr. Speaker, I came here as the in charge of enforcement and compliance, Kisii County government.
Why didn't the person who knows come?
I take responsibility as the in charge.
I put it to you that it is because you are more malleable and because you've been acting for forever, and you are hoping that by giving this testimony, you will graduate into a confirmed position.
Honorable Senators, that's not true.
Now, as we speak today, Honorable Speaker, can I just have 3 minutes? I'll be done.
Very well, Counsel.
Thank you
Conclude in
very
the
much,
next
sir.
3 minutes.
As you speak today, do you know where all the population of your enforcement officers are?
Yes, I know.
Since when?
This morning.
Since this morning. So before that, when you are acting, when you are deputy, all that, you never knew where your people are, including the 20 that went to arrest and the 4 that were deputy governors. You didn't know.
You asked as I'm seated, I'm standing here.
Yes. And before that, did you know?
I know.
Did you know?
I know.
I'm not asking about today. We
know.
are talking about your testimony saying there are 4 people in deputy governor's place you didn't know.
I know about the 4. And I said here that I complained to my boss.
After the impeachment
Before
proceedings?
the impeachment motion.
Sorry?
Before the impeachment motion.
Have you given us any document?
No.
Showing that you had raised any issues before that?
No, but I can provide evidence.
Lastly, did you say that the deputy governor is not entitled to be designated any staff to assist him? Is that your position?
I talked about the enforcement officers. There are no provision.
I will ask you again. Is the deputy governor entitled to some staff at the expense of the county?
I know.
They are entitled to?
They are entitled, but not enforcement officers.
Okay. Now, as you testify today, do you have anything to tell this assembly that indeed the people who are designated to serve the deputy governor are this and this, and instead of those ones, these ones went? Do you have anything to show that there is a variance between the people intended vis-a-vis the people who are actually there?
I could not be having the evidence.
Answer my questions directly. Do you have any document to say Hagai was supposed to be there, but instead of Hagai, it is somebody else.
No.
You don't have it.
Any re-examination?
I'll be very brief, Honorable Speaker. David, you have been asked whether you have identified the personal staff of the Deputy Governor and your enforcement officers. The question is, do personal staff of the Governor, Deputy Governor, under your direct control?
No.
And are you here speaking about his personal staff or your own staff?
I came to talk about enforcement officers.
Now, you have also been asked whether you have brought a document complaining about the 4 officers, about the report that you forwarded to your boss, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have your complaint letter about the 4 officers?
The complaint about the 4 officers, it was done immediately. I resumed office.
And it was done before the impeachment?
And it was done before the impeachment.
Now, you have also been asked whether it is you who ought to have come here or it was your deputy director at the sub-county level. The question is, who complained at the county assembly level?
I raised the complaint.
You raised a complaint. Are you the author of the statement at the county assembly level?
I am.
Is it pursuant to that statement that you were summoned?
That is true.
Now, you've also been asked about whether you have brought documents or records about the deployment of the 20 enforcement officers and whether the employment letters for your officers. Now, when did you receive the summons?
I received the summons yesterday.
And when you received the summons, to your understanding, what were you coming to speak to?
I was come and talk about the deployment of the enforcement officers.
And if you had enough time, would you supply those documents?
Yes.
You have also been asked whether the record, whether you have done the investigations correctly, correct?
Yeah.
And the question is, what did the preliminary investigations report reveal to you, to the extent that you're not able to mention the name of the 4 officers or the 20 enforcement officers this morning?
The preliminary report indicates that it is true. 20 enforcement officers were mobilized and deployed to execute an operation. And about the four,
are investigations complete?
The investigations are on.
They are ongoing. So are you able to reveal the names of the said enforcement officers at this juncture?
I am able to reveal the names of all enforcement officers that are attached to Nyaribari Churches sub-county.
My question is, while investigations are ongoing, would you compromise the investigations by revealing the names of the officers at this point?
No.
Now, I believe you're a permanent and a pensionable employee of the county government, correct?
Yes.
So who is your employer?
Is the county government.
Were you recruited by the county government, the County Public Service Board?
Yes.
So who is do you serve under the mercy of the governor?
No, I serve for the county government of Kisii.
Now, you mentioned, or you have also been asked, the person who deployed the 20 enforcement officers, you correctly put was who?
The sub-county administrator and the sub-county commander.
Does the sub-county administrator have the mandate to deploy?
No.
And is that the reason why even your own deputy did not have the knowledge of it?
Yes.
That's what, Honorable Speaker, I cede the witness to the members.
Thank you. The witness may retire. Now we're going to move to hear the case of the deputy. Yes, Honorable Senator.